Hello, these are some monotype prints that I've been working with. I have a bunch of different bits of them because I've been turning them into final pieces and collages even. So here are some examples. This one is just, this one isn't a collage, just a print. These ones are some collages. So these pieces are inserted. And I think that I'm really happy with how they turned out. So I'm continuing working on them. This one's packaged already with my business card. Yep. This is actually the print of a lychee peel. I thought that was pretty cool, how that looks. And it's fun that, like, I bought lychees and the peels, I've always loved the texture of them, so it was fun to be like, look, I can use the texture of this object. It's like you look at the world differently after you do some texture printmaking. You're like, ooh, all these textures surrounding me, which is fun. I think that's one thing that I love about being an artist, is that I think that it makes me see the world differently than if I wasn't an artist. And I feel really grateful for that. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. I thought I'd just give you a peek. I really like this one. I think that the toned paper, it looks great on the toned paper. I wanted to tell you that pretty much all of these are printed on scrap paper that at the printmaking studio there's a drawer that says scrap papers, and like anyone who uses, it's like an open studio, or a community studio, so anyone who uses the studio, one sec. So anyone who uses the studio, they can take the paper or leave paper. So every time I go to the studio, I'm like, are there any goodies in here to take advantage of? And I mean, sometimes there's some huge pieces of paper, and it is like a cutoff for sure, but it's pretty substantial. I mean, this is a big piece of paper. So, and paper's expensive, and why waste? So, but what I wanted to say is because they're scrap papers, it's harder to find frames to fit them. And so when I am cutting, so for instance, like it was a piece like this paper, and I didn't feel like the whole thing was one piece of art. I felt like there's a lot going on, so I decided to cut it. But before I cut it, just like instead of just being like, okay, this is where I think it should be, I Googled average frame sizes in like an arts and crafts website. And so there's a frame for, let's see what, so this dimension is 8.5 inches. So I was like, okay, well the next size up would be like an 11 by 14 frame, 11 inches by 14 inches. So I should cut this so that it's the same ratio. So like this dimension, the 8.5 plus 2.5 inches is the 11. So then this side is 14 inches, which is the frame size, minus the 2.5 inches, which is 11.5. So that just means that now I don't have to worry about finding like a odd frame shape or getting it framed. I go to the thrift store to look for frames for my artwork, and I bring the artwork with me so that I can see it and I can know that it will fit right. It helps me visually to like be sure that it'll fit inside, but that's my tip. Something that I didn't think about before I was selling my pieces was that framing is important. And the dimensions, if you make your piece an easier dimension to fit a frame, then it's a lot cheaper to frame them.
Hey, this is VoiceOver J Ray. I wanted to walk you through what I'm working on here. So all of these pieces are different monotype prints that I did at my local community print shop, and I'm working on creating a collage out of them. I previously did a square collage where it's like 2 inches of one print and then 2 inches of a next print, and I really liked how that format worked, so I'm recreating that format with some new prints, and so I'm seeing what prints I like together. This is the print I decided to be the outside of the piece because it is the largest, and I already bought a frame, so I measured the frame and to make sure that this will fit perfectly inside of the frame. I decided that the outside print will be a square that is 2 inches thick. Now that I have the outside complete, I'm looking at it with other prints inside of it to see what I want the next square to be made of. And I decided on this print, so now I'm cutting it into a square that's going to go inside of the other square, and it's going to be 2 inches thick again. So I realized after the fact that since I cut this square 2 inches thick, but there's an overlap between the outer and the inner, it is a bit smaller than 2 inches, about an inch and 3/4. And so it ends up each square inside of the outer square is again this like a bit smaller, an inch and 3/4. And so the outside border is a little bigger than the rest of them, but I don't think that it's bad in any way. So I just it's good. But it's something to consider in the future if I do it again, just to remember that there's going to be that little bit of overlapping area. So now I'm looking at what I have with other prints inside of it to see which one I want to do for the next square. So I end up with the inside square being the same print as the exterior square. I'm rubbing the blue tape onto my pants before I stick it onto the print so that there's less adhesive, and so I know it will not take ink off of the print. Now I'm marking a guide so that I know where I'm going to make the next cut. I decided that the inner piece will also be mimicking the second to outside piece so that it's print 1, print 2, print 1, print 2. And here is what it looks like close up. I also made a stop motion animation of the print, which I'll insert here. Let me know what you think of this collage in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I post a new video every week. Thanks for coming to my studio today.